Wait, can I second?
But, so I'll get that. Once I get that. Okay, got it. But I think I have a direct contact with all my team.
Yeah.
This is the scrum meeting rules.
Wilson, which one are you? wait, let them come out of the
You're
room.
not-
That camera's not on. Why does-
No, I was told it was, I don't know.
We're recording the meeting.
I was told that that camera is working. Okay?
Your picture was in the Washington Business Journal. Yours. Along with Kareem and Bill Fritz and the EYA people.
So Nargiza, nobody?
Yeah, I brought it with me, so I think I did. Treat.
Just in case.
Did you get yours? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the commission meeting to order and to remind people that would like to address the commission that remarks are limited to 3 minutes, and we ask you to kindly respect that so that our meeting can get about the remainder of the business that challenges us. Thank you. May I hear from the Resident Advisory Board, please?
Good afternoon. For the record, Yvonne Kaufman, Vice President, Resident Advisory Board. Just want to let you know that we have interviewed and confirmed 2 new members that will start in January to our board. We are continuing our interviews, and if you know of any persons, please send those resumes to Rita Harris. We are also working on framing a project to talk about voter registration with our tenants, working with our hub managers and with our property managers, and to start site visits. So we're going to be busy next year. Happy holiday to you and yours.
Thank you. We appreciate your work. And now, have we, people signed up to speak to our community forum?
It should be. Tap it.
Hello?
Yeah, there.
That's working. All right. Good day, Commissioners. I am here to continue to address the numerous issues I have had with HOC. I want to reach out to possibly any other victims of HOC's many suspect practices here. Residents, employees, past and present, and any other people who have had issues with any employee of the Housing Opportunities Commission, or if anybody just wants to share a negative experience they've had with it. I have an email address I'd like to show. I have garnered the attention of directors at Department of Housing and Urban Development who oversee state senators. People, the right people are now listening. Though there is strength in numbers and more people with similar issues with HOC, the stronger our case. And those people being more willing to hear us and work with us. Okay. I want to let you guys know, the commissioners, I have my issues not with any of you. You guys have been respectful to me and accommodating and listening. It's not that way with Stacy Spann, the executive director, and many other people, employees I've had issues with. This is really why I'm here. Also, can I get an update as to who is there a COO that's filled Shauna Sorrells' position?
I didn't hear your question.
Yes, I'm asking you. Sorry.
We're having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I thought it was, you can't hear, because he said I was recording. You can't hear me?
It
Yeah,
may
we can
be
hear.
on, but if you'd hold it closer to your mouth.
Can you hear me
when
now?
speak, that's better, thank you.
Sorry, I wish I had known that. Can you all tell me, is there a current COO now who's taken Shauna Sorrells' place?
No, there
Anyone? No? And how about in program compliance? Is there anybody that's taken Ethan Cohen's position? Okay. All right. Okay. I really didn't have much to say. I just want to make sure that I come, you guys, until this is justly resolved for me. I'm not backing down in this matter. So I appreciate you guys listening to me. And I want to offer you all a very nice holiday this year. And I guess we'll recoup in January, huh? Thank you. And I just wanted to show my picture to the camera. I have an email address. Can you still hear me?
I
Is that
think-
camera right there?
I'm trying to tell you which one is recording. I think that one's recording and that one back there.
That was told, I was told different. Okay, if anybody would like to speak to me, my email address is kaylun, as in Nancy, the number 3@gmail.com, or you can feel free to call me at 301-518-2483. Thank you all very much, and have a nice holiday.
You can show it though. You can do this if you want for all of them.
I'm just kind of confused as to what's being recorded and where it's not.
Do all the cameras, man.
Okay. Other than that, I'm done.
Just a minute.
I have,
Just a minute, please.
sorry.
No, Fred, she's getting something
There it is.
to show us.
Yeah, just so show.
Just wait a minute till she is finished, please.
All right, now show this one. Okay, this one here.
I don't want to read them over.
It can read it from where you are.
Okay,
That's
alright.
fine. Yeah. And there's one over there to your left. And there's a one in the rear. Okay.
Thank you. Please.
You too.
And we can't hear you through that mic unless it's close, or you sit at the table. Acoustics are not the greatest in this room.
Okay, well, it's Evangelist Joanne Nichols, and I've been with this housing opportunity meetings for lots of issues. And today is a very crucial issue, is because I find that the staff has caused me a lot of problems. And the issue about that is that my apartment was supposed to have been finished and organizing it so it could pass inspection. But because of the workers, and I hate to state names, but I'm talking about Susan Smith and Rebecca Grayson, who were supposed to have worked on my issue of removing things out and making it so it passed inspection. And they dropped the ball and they didn't finish it. Now, I did write a letter in April to Stacy Spann about the issue because I wanted to appeal the issue because Susan Smith was going to drop my completing the project. And there has been, over the years since I've been in this county, working with Susan Smith and Rebecca Grayson on issues that the tenants have to move when we expose the landlords for whatever issues that we are occurring in them. And because of that, the HOC residents are moving, and I'm talking about myself for the 13 years that I've been in this county. And this place that I'm at now has been able to make himself connected to Mr. Eldridge, to the staff here at HOC, when I was supposed to have that available for them, which you're saying hoarding. No, it has been head injuries. And I've been in your agency for a while. Susan Smith or Rebecca Grayson or anybody in that disability office never invited me to any of those meetings other than a so-called hoarding situation, which we had a lawyer and it represented it last year. That wasn't the case. And Susan Smith testified it was going to be completed, and I was working well with her to do it. But after it was over, they dropped the ball. So this year, I'm dealing with the same issue. And I think it's very unfortunately that I am 67 years old and is not hoarding, but head injuries from the attacks that I had to deal with in this county, that they have documentations of that. And I'm just outraged that I see documentations and going to another hearing where one of your workers is saying, oh, she has some kind of history or whatever. I'm like, I don't know him, but he works with your agency. His name is Will somebody in that Derrick inspection office. I think that was very rude of him, even to say that to my lawyer. I don't know him from Adam, but I do know some people, Stacy Span, Ms. Bird. Oh no, I've seen you before, Ms. Simon. I don't know the other people, but they need to get the history right when they're concerning about me. I don't like even finding out that this landlord has been able to attach himself to police officers. And when I'm reporting theft or my items being stolen, he's able to bypass it because it becomes into a court hearing.
Yeah.
But this is my issue. It's the staff and how they are treating myself as a resident.
Yeah.
And now I'm 67 years old.
Ma'am.
And that's the issue.
So, commissioners, I'm not, are you a voucher?
Yes, I'm a
Okay,
voucher.
so
Yeah,
Ms.
voucher.
Nichols is a voucher customer. I
Right.
am not aware of the precise issue with the landlord. Yes, voucher customers must, or at least the unit has to pass inspection. I'm not aware of precisely the issues that she's talking about, but we've got ourselves from compliance here, and Bonnie Hodge is also here from HRD, so they can actually work with her today, and we can try and get to it. And you'll see this obviously on the next report with an update.
And yes, Ms. Davis, because I was calculating income, and I caught them again as of last year, trying to overcharge me for my rent, and that needs to be straightened out too. So I want it to be correct. And when someone from, excuse me, Mr. Span, someone from 1401 Landlord Tenant Court comes into this office and supposed to be working this big issues with HOC. And I'm finished. That's what I have to say. And I understand he's going to have somebody.
Ms.
work
Cox
with me.
and Ms. Hodge.
Yeah. And so I will be back because I'm going to be here up until 6:30. Listen to
Okay.
the- And I am an advocate for the seniors. Like to have. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Cox and Ms. Hodge.
All right. Then we are ready to move to the rest of our agenda. May I have a motion to approve our minutes of November 6th, both the general meeting and the administrative session, the special session minutes of November 14, and the special session minutes of December 5, and the administrative special session of December 5.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes of those meetings are approved. I believe we've no consent items this evening. Mr. Span, may we have your report?
Absolutely. Commissioners, good afternoon. I actually want to note that there is not a written report in your packet for the month of December. I failed to submit it timely, and so my instructions to the staff are, even if I'm the one who doesn't submit the item timely, that we're still going to try and get packet out timely. So trying to hold myself to the same standard. So there you go. I wanted to highlight a couple of items, in particular, Holiday Giving 2019. HOC helped serve around 2,000 Montgomery County families at Thanksgiving as part of the county's Holiday Giving Coalition. There are approximately 50 other organizations participating in this. 200 of those families were served with direct donations of items, food, and time from HOC, so that's about 10%, which is pretty significant. And we anticipate serving another 1,500 during Christmas season. And then additionally, today we had the grand opening of Point View at Aspen Hill. That's the 120 unit senior building on Belpre, right, just behind the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Well attended, but I mean, this one, it actually looks quite good on the inside. We are an 11% owner, so minority owner, but we actually helped support this with project-based vouchers as well, and cause those rents to be brought down and affordable to persons who are at 30% of area median. So it's actually pretty significant. County Executive Elrich was there, representatives from the State Department of Housing and Community Development, representatives from the County Department of Housing and Community Affairs, and any number of tax credit providers, construction folks, et cetera. But just another indication that it takes an entire county almost to get affordable housing built. And so while we're a small partner in this one, there's more on the horizon.
How many units?
120. Yep, 120. Vast majority are affordable. It is a tax credit. I should have said this is a 9% low-income housing tax credit development. You'll recall that we started this transaction with Shelter, which was in the midst of selling its portfolio, and then wound up working with Penrose, they've been actually pretty good to work with as well in the space. So those are my 3 items.
Excellent. Are there any questions of Mr. Span? All right. Have we, commissioners, exchanged any comments, or Rick?
Well, on Monday afternoon, I attended the session of the county council that was considering some proposals relating to HOC that are before the Montgomery County State Delegation. And I must say, with thanks and gratitude, the members of the county council were very strongly supportive of HOC and its executive director and the staff and the work that we as an agency perform for the county. In contrast to that, there was a session Monday night held by the Montgomery County State Delegation to consider those same bills. And to say that I was distressed is an understatement. The executive director and, in fact, HOC were disparaged, were treated very badly by a few members of the state delegation. And it really is, to me, very disturbing for those representatives of the county who evidently have not taken the time to understand what it is that HOC does to take out any personal animus they have against any individuals by really slamming the work of this agency. And I have today, not as a commissioner, but as a private citizen, written to each member of the state delegation, indicating my distress at what they did. And really because of that, I'd like to offer a motion from the commission expressing strong support for HOC Executive Director and the staff and the work that you guys do to help our clients and the residents of Montgomery County.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any additional comments? Or I'd like to add a few words to that too. I think the tenor of that meeting and the behavior of some of the delegates was not appropriate. I also think that some of the speakers on our bills were not appropriate. And it's factually incorrect. And that really distresses me. I know this staff puts in more than however many hours of work a week you're paid for. And I know that we as commissioners put in much more time than we're paid for, which is zero. And I think that it is one thing to disagree and to challenge and to discuss and to argue, but to be disrespectful, I think, is inappropriate. And I thought we saw some behavior that was very inappropriate from elected officials and from some who provided testimony. And I think that's a shame. And I don't think anyone deserves the disparagement and the public abuse that this commission has endured. And I wish there were more I could do about it as your leader this year. However, I appreciate all that you do. I know that you work with great intensity and commitment. I call it a missionary zeal, because it goes beyond being a job for most, if not all of you. And for that, I'd like to express my respect and my thanks. And we will continue to try and work with those who disagree with us. And I hope that some civility can come into some of the exchanges that we have within the community, because I think all of us deserve that. Whether you agree with us or not, you deserve our respect as people, and I think we have tried to show it by maintaining our community forum rather than abandoning it, as some would suggest that we do. And but I think maybe they've watched too many House of Representative hearings or something, that the decorum and respect for each other has deteriorated to the level that it has on occasion. I thank all of you for your work and your tolerance of what these last 2 years have been. So with that, I certainly echo Rick's comments and just want the staff to know how I feel about what has occurred and wish I might have served you better in leading so that you would not have been put in the positions that you have been. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just for a moment, having been present at that occasion, and we were at the end of a fairly long agenda of legislative actions that came before, and all of those preceding us, I think the questions were directed to the legislation. The concern that I had was that there were none of the questions that were directed to trying to clarify from us our position relative to the four bills. Instead, it was used as a platform for personally challenging the agency and the executive director on matters that had nothing to do with the legislation. And that I thought was an inappropriate use of what is, I think, should be very valuable time to discern from us what our clearly stated positions were in testimony and in written formats that we provided to them. So I hope that going forward in the future that we can, in fact, align our conversations with what the intent of the hearing was to discuss 4 pieces of legislation. And that was not what happened there. I think that we should not have to, but always be prepared to defend the agency, because that's going to happen. The reality of it for all of us is that we live in a political environment, and there are a lot of different agendas and reasons why people do what they do, and we have to be prepared to support at all times the work that we do, which is outstanding. You know, I don't have any problem with somebody who smacks me on one cheek with positive stuff and then slaps me with the other stuff with negative, but give some balance and be honest and be truthful about what is in fact happening. You know, this agency has not in my tenure here, has not had a single audit that has been anything but a clear audit. It has never had a request about a procurement violation that we have done. It has never had a situation dealing with us, in fact, endangering the welfare of our employees because we enter into certain contracts. Those things have not happened, and they were not clearly asked for or stated in the record. I want to be clear that those things have not happened. This agency is not one, and while there may be concerns that come from our residents legitimately and should be expressed, it does not mean that people can use it as a format for simply just exercising, I think, unclear judgment and of trying to bring down this agency's reputation when we have a stellar one nationally, not just in this community, but nationally. And I want to again support Rick's motion that we proceed in the way he's outlined.
I wasn't there at the meetings, but I tried to hear different things about it. I think y'all are a superb agency. I've been here a long time. I feel bad that I didn't go to any of the meetings, but then I would have felt bad because I know what we've done in all the years that I've been with this agency. I know what Stacy has done. He's very well liked and admired by a lot of people. Some don't, but some really do. And for that, you know, I have to take my hat off to the staff and a lot of the staff he brought here, because it's a lot of staff that are gone. But I admire the staff that he has here. They work as a family, as a unit. You know, if one goes down, the other one goes down. They always somewhere to lift each other up. So, if you don't remember anything else, Shauna was like that. She always lifted you up, and you could have felt bad, but she lifted you up. So I say without any doubt, you got my support, and you always will. Thank you.
I would like to say that it's great to work as a new person on a team where everyone here knows that when others go low, we go high. And there's never any question but that is the road we as individuals and as a commission and as a team will do, because it enables us to have such respect for each other and to do what needs to be done for the very hard work of creating more affordable housing in this community. And I think that from the meetings recently, I have been reminded of Martin Luther King's comment that we should judge people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And that character is conveyed by their behavior. And I hope we can all continue to realize that even when other people's behavior or character doesn't rise to the level that their roles and offices in society would call for, that we as a team will go high. And I know that that will be the case because of what I've seen already. And I thank everyone for all of the times that you have done that to support our clients in the difficult times of their lives.
Because they saved the best for last, but let me echo, before you clap, that I too was at the meeting and left a bit distraught, not just as my role here, but as a citizen of Montgomery County. So, I went home and reflected a lot of time wasted there, but also looked at the miseducation about what we do. So I've said to the commissioners in email and to each other that we are somewhat in a war, but it's going to take us educating not only political representatives, but the public at large, including our residents, that who we are, what we do, where we get our funds for, just a lot of miseducation, and that came really clear to me during that meeting. But I would like to say to each of you, thank you for what you do. A lot of comments about contractors, and because I serve in that role in my professional life, I know that contractors work hard, they are efficient. We operate under somewhat a different model than public employees sometimes, and not always because we want to be contractors, but it's the way of the world, and it's changing more and more every day. So thank each of you. I know since I've been here, you've answered my questions. I've taken baby steps in learning what you guys do. And I say this before I joined in the sorority and participating with residents in our public service projects. This has always been a great agency, and I hope we go forward in the next years to come as we change lives, better lives through housing, which I've always felt very passionate about, that once a person has a great place to live, it changes their lives forever. So thank you guys for what you do. We're here to support, and not sure I'm in a nice mode right now, but we'll get through it. Thank you guys.
I don't want to steal the last word.
Really? After I went.
But one thing I do want to clarify, though, is the fact that I've heard this on a number of occasions, that we are a rubber stamp board commission. And that really, really gets under me.
Yes.
Because the fact that this meeting, which is a public meeting, when we have it once a month, to get to this meeting, there are many, many, many committee meetings. I know when I came on this commission, I had no idea
We warned you.
about the level of work that
Oh,
we
yes.
required to
Oh,
do the
yes.
work to get to this point where we can make decisions. But what this represents, so if we sit here, it's because we have done the hard work
Yeah.
in our committees to review, to question, to challenge, to try to get the best products we can to bring before the full commission. I think that needs to be understood, and I want to be on the record about that, because we are not a rubber stamp or any other kind of stamp board. I'm certainly not a rubber stamp for sure. And I have been, as you all know, I have served as a CEO of a public housing agency. And I've worked with the board. And so I know the work this board does. If I had gotten my board to work as hard as we work, I'd have been a happier man.
Can I just have the last word, though? I'm just saying.
I'll give it back to you.
I think we better
We're
start
supposed to vote, yes. we're
taking the
supposed to vote.
3-minute rule.
Yes.
Really?
No, I was just totally joking with Roy. But I agree. I agree. Thank you. Yes.
She made the motion. Are you gonna actually vote on it?
Yes.
Yeah, we get
We
it.
certainly are going to vote. All in favor of the remarks of each of us? Please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Maybe we even ought to put our hands up. Yeah.
Actually, we're supporting the motion that was made, just to be technically correct.
Yes.
The there was a motion made,
And
Yes.
which is what we're really voting on.
Yes.
But it's also including the comment that was
Yes.
supporting the motion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Well,
Now, let's move on to some of the things we've been working on since last month and many predecessor months. Who is bringing us the fiscal year audited financial statement?
Where's that? Yeah, right.
So we're ratifying the special session where we
Going
accepted
to
the audit.
Resolution, oh. No, we've had that.
yeah, no, this is,
We did the minutes. We did the
Yes.
minutes.
That's right. So, acceptance of the audited financial statements in Resolution 19106R.
I move ratification. Let's see.
Is there a
Yes,
second?
Yes, we have a resolution 106R, right?
19-106.
19-106R. I move acceptance or approval of 19-106R.
Second.
All right. Been moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. And
Any objections? Hearing none, it's approved. The next resolution is 19-110R.
I move approval of resolution 19-110R, approval to enter into a joint pre-development agreement to assign for the development of a multifamily property and related matters.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt a resolution 1911OR, or 110R, I'm sorry. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any objection or abstention? The motion is, the resolution is adopted.
Commissioners, may I just interject one thing before we go to the committee reports?
Yes.
I apologize. So you're seeing me doing a bunch of hand signals and whatever else. You'll recall that we made a commitment to start to stream in December. Unfortunately, technology fails us. We've obviously, as a commission, not done this in the past. We've done it for the last 3 meetings. And so we're just sort of communicating to make sure that it's up, running, working through the audio and visual challenges of it. And just for the record, the way that we did this, because we wanted to get it up quickly and be responsive to the request, was that we tried to do it within the confines of this room where we have, as you all know, challenges around sound, the way it travels, lighting, et cetera. Once we get actually our new headquarters building, those things will be remedied. But it does not make sense for us, in my view, to expend a great deal of capital that frankly we couldn't necessarily take with us into the next building, given that that's 3 years.
Yeah.
The equipment, some of it would be obsolete, wouldn't be compatible with the actual new equipment. So we're just trying to make it work in a way that actually gets it done as well as possible. So forgive the hand signals and the.
But we really do need to do something about the audio in here.
It's the acoustics, because it's,
Yeah, I know.
this was the cafeteria and the stage
Yes.
in the elementary school, so we're working at it.
Is the streaming working?
It is.
As far as we know?
It's
Good.
working.
Okay.
All right. The Development
Hey,
and
Reed,
Finance
Jennifer.
Committee?
Oh, what fun it is to ride.
Don't push those microphones away from you, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, should we go right there?
No, I really need you to have them close.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Kayreen Brown, and with me is Jennifer Arrington, Assistant Director of Bond Management and Mortgage Finance. And we're here to seek your approval to increase the sales price and income limits for the single-family mortgage purchase program. We've discussed this with the Development and Finance Committee, and I will have Jennifer provide you with the highlights, and we'll answer your questions thereafter. Jennifer, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The single-family mortgage purchase program follows the IRS regulations, which guides the maximum sales price and income limits for the program. And today you have a request proposing to increase those program limits by 4.4% and 3.5% respectively. The IRS sets the average area purchase price annually, and HUD publishes the area median income annually as well. Both have increased, and the proposed new program limits are within IRS regulation. We have provided an 11-year history of the maximum, average, median, and median sales prices for all ratified contracts since 2009. And in FY 2019, our largest contract was for $475,000. With the IRS average area sales price now at almost $727,000 for the Washington area, which is a high-cost area, the program is able to increase its maximum sales price to approximately $654,000, which is and cannot be more than 90% of the IRS average. With respect to income limits, we have provided a comparison of the area median income limits published over the last 11 years in comparison to the program's income limits. Since 2008, the IRS has allowed for high-cost areas to set limits for a 1 to 2 person household as high as 120% AMI, and for a 3 person household or more as high as 140% of the AMI. With HUD publishing the new area median incomes and adjusting for the high-cost area, it is proposed to increase maximum income limits for the program to approximately $102,000 for 1 person, $146,000 for 2 persons, and $170,000 for a 3 or more person household. Increasing the program's limits will continue our reach of millennials and multi-general households and will not exclude the more affordable incomes from access to the program. And I'll accept your questions if there are any.
Are there questions of staff on this issue? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 19-111?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? All right. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I believe that I heard everyone, so the resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution 19-111 is adopted.
Thank you. Again, for the record, I'm Kayreen Brown, and with me is Marcus Irvin, We're discussing with you and seeking your approval of the novation, existing DHCA loans for the ambassador to another property that's 100% controlled by HOC. The property is the HOC at Beers Mill, LLC, for the sole purpose of contributing the ambassador property to the Wheaton Gateway Venture in accordance with the operating agreement that has been agreed upon and executed by the partners to the Wheaton Venture. As many of you know, HOC has been in negotiations with Wilco, the owner of the retail condominium, for several years now for the planned redevelopment of the Ambassador site. Wilco is the owner of the retail condominium and the mattress pad that it owns in fee simple. One of the conditions of the operating agreement is that the assets that are owned by the existing owners be contributed to the venture lien-free, which means that Wilco has to contribute its mattress pad and retail condominium to the Wheaton Gateway Venture lien-free, and HOC must contribute its Ambassador residential condominium to the venture lien-free. As we've indicated in the packet, there's several loans to the Ambassador apartments that must be released so that the property can be contributed. On page 47, you'll see that there are loans, funds that have been drawn on the PNC line of credit, and those 1.82 million were drawn to repay the original bond loan that financed the property back in 1992. There's a DHCA loan of $2 million that was made to the property at the time of the financing, also in 1992, and there's interest that has accrued on that loan. In addition, there is a housing initiative fund loan from DHCA as well, and that loan was made directly to HOC for the benefit of the ambassador, but is due in 2025, or if the property is refinanced, or there's a sale of the property, or if it's no longer controlled by HOC. We believe that the transfer of the property into the venture causes that loan to be due, and therefore we're asking for that loan as well as a $2 million loan be novated to the HOC at Beers Mill LLC property. We've had discussions with the chief of multifamily at DHCA, and she has agreed that this can be effected so that the property can be transferred into the venture. And once the commission approves this transfer, this novation, we will move forward with the documentation of this novation, and so that the collateral for the DHCA loan will then be the HOC at Beers Mill LLC property. Once we approach the financial closing of the transaction, once the entitlement for the ambassador redevelopment occurs, we may then transfer the loan or the collateral back to the Wheaton Gateway property if the commission chooses to do so. And the loans may be addressed at that time, either via a repayment, or they may be attributed back to the redevelopment and or they may remain with the HOC at Beers Mill LLC property. The obligation of that property remain on that property. And so with that, we're asking the commission's approval to move forward with this transaction so that the ambassador property may be contributed to the Wheaton Venture transaction. Questions, I will answer them.
Quick interjection, though. We are in the midst of demolition on the Ambassador, which is pretty significant. So, Karine, I just want to point that out, though. This is like, really, this thing is,
So rebuilding it's not an option.
It is not, right, it's not. So,
And if there are any questions regarding the entitlement and where we are with negotiations and other things, Marcos is the staff developer on the Ambassador redevelopment transaction. May answer them, you may close them to him directly.
Can we just review, okay, so on page 2, I'm showing the total loans of roughly outstanding 7.9 million. And then you mentioned that the loan was gonna be for 2 million? Like,
Yes.
what is it that we're actually transferring?
So there's $2 million, the DACA principal amount. That is a recorded loan against the property, so that has to be released and taken off the land records. There is accrued interest, and that runs with the $2 million. We've had discussions with the county, and they're prepared to release those interests that have accrued. And there's a $725,250. That's also it states here HIF, but it's a DACA loan that was made to HOC for the benefit of the Ambassador property, which is due either the sooner of 2025 when the property is refinanced, or it's no longer controlled by HOC, or if there's a sale of the property. And so by contributing it to this venture, makes it due and payable. So that has to be transferred to a new property as well, or paid off. The remaining loans, the NPDU Property Acquisition Fund, that's a revolving fund of the county. There's not a lien recorded against the property for that loan. That has to be addressed as well. That's a must payback loan. However, it's not a lien against the property, so it doesn't have to be dealt with at this time.
Got it.
And so, the loan, first loan, 1.8 million against the real estate line of credit, that's a PNC loan, it's an HOC obligation, so that does not have to be addressed at this time as well. However, at the financial closing, all of these obligations have to be addressed, either through subordination or repayment or some other treatment.
Okay.
Deep supporting. It'd be deep supporting. Right. Yeah.
Or paid back.
Okay.
And all these actions were necessary in order for you to be able to give a lien-free transfer.
Just those two pieces, the 2
Yeah.
million
And
and
the
the
1.8.
725,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there are questions on where we are with the development, Marcus is happy to answer them.
I think that's occasion to dance on the table, is it not?
Yes, for sure.
I don't volunteer.
All I can say is I have looked with glee as they started the demolition.
I hope we're photographing this.
Pardon?
I hope we're photographing this.
We are. I'm getting some photos. Taking some of my way.
We don't have the time lapse photo deconstruction.
Oh, come on.
You know.
We do the buildings time lapse, I think,
Oh,
as
we do.
long as that building has been there.
We probably should have thought of it. I think we were so bowled over with excitement to finally, after 6 years, get the thing knocked down. We didn't really want to wait to put the camera crane up. We really wanted to start, just in case something happened and, you know,
But the
folks change their
county
mind.
and the people who've been so concerned about that site have been notified that it's really,
Yes, everyone's aware that it is being demolished. At first, it didn't look like it because they went through the interior, but it's pretty clear now because it looks like Swiss cheese.
I can just say, having been seated in a different seat when I got the telephone call about the leaning tower of the Ambassador, it has been a long time getting rid of that.
That is a long time, that's right.
as indeed.
And I remember that
That
call.
was a scary middle
I remember that.
winter, so February, right? It was a sort of February time, right?
So do we need a motion to get rid of the leaning liens?
We do.
Oh,
Then I will move approval of Resolution 19-112.
I second.
Resolution 19-112, approving the novation of the existing VHC loans at the Ambassador, has been moved and seconded. Are there any other questions anyone has? Hearing none. Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution 19-112 is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. You can't get away without coming up, Paul.
Mr. Shy Guy.
Again, for the record, I'm Irene Brown, and with me this time is Paul Vinciguerra, our construction manager. And as you just discussed, the Ambassador is currently being demolished. We're asking for approval to increase the contingency by an additional 10% over the original contract amount to cover additional costs associated with removal of asbestos-containing materials that were discovered in interior pipes, as well as to pay for lane closure and sidewalk closure for pedestrian safety. There are funds available, sufficient funds available from the county's capital improvement program appropriation. This will increase the total contract to a maximum amount of 745, and the total budget of $1,095,316, leaving funds unencumbered in total $1.3 million that was earmarked for the approved and appropriated for the Ambassador.
I would move approval of resolution 19-113. Approval to increase the contingency.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions for staff before I call for the motion? All those in favor of adopting resolution 19-113, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
There was no negative votes. All the votes were affirmative, so the resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
We've no future action items that I'm aware of.
Madam Chair, pursuant to section 3-305B of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, I move to adjourn this open session to a closed session to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto, and to comply with a specific constitutional, statutory, or judicially imposed requirement that prevents public disclosures about a particular proceeding or matter.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous as well. We're going to go to another room to discuss something that is under the Maryland Code, either advice of counsel, acquisition of property, or whatever.
And we have a development corp. We got a development.
And we have a development corporation. Yes, we will be meeting in January, the second Wednesday of January, since the 1st is New Year's Day.
Not yet. We actually have a we're going to do Dev Corp first. So if you'd like to hear it, you're welcome to stay to hear. We have one more piece
item
of this. Yeah.
This is for the Development Corporation, isn't it?
Yes, for the Development Corporation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paddington Square.
I would like now to call the meeting of the Paddington Square Development Corporation to order. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. application to Capital's Community Solar Program for Paddington Square and to enter into a subscription targeting plan for the program. Sir?
Thank you. Good evening or afternoon, commissioners. As Karine said, I'm here to present the community solar project.
Who are you?
Eric Smith, for the record. I'm here to present the community solar project for Paddington Square. HOC acquired Paddington in 2004, and after substantial renovation, we were able to stabilize the property and has since maintained the esteem of the community. To further our service to the community, we'd like to bring the community solar project to Paddington, and this project would comprise of a total of 95 solar subscriptions, meaning 95 homes in total would be serviced by renewable solar energy. 29 of those 95 would be reserved for low to moderate income families, subsequently cutting their bills by approximately 50%. We're only able to deliver these 29 low to moderate income subscriptions by foregoing the fair market rent and charging Groundswell, the nonprofit developer, a $1 annual rent payment for the rooftop space. And prior to the installation, the roofs will be inspected, and the onus of all aspects of construction and subscription attainment falls on Groundswell. And furthermore, the 20-year lease agreement is structured to allow HOC unilateral buyout rights at the beginning of year 8, around 2028, to permit redevelopment at its own convenience. And so with that, as Karine said, we are asking the commission to authorize the executive director to execute a rooftop solar lease with Groundswell for $1 annual rent payment and approve the subscription targeting plan that will place 10 low to moderate income solar subscriptions at Paddington and 19 in the surrounding neighborhood. Any questions?
This is resolution 19.
I move approval of resolution 19-003 PS.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions of staff?
This is not a question on the motion, it's a question.
All right.
Is this the first solar project we've done of this nature?
Yes.
Do we anticipate there'll be other opportunities for us to do this going forward?
Yes. If I might, commissioners, yes, we certainly anticipate other use of photovoltaics. The newest technology, I'm sorry?
That's pretty fancy.
I'm just,
Solar is an easier way to say it.
Right. Solar panels, right, solar panels, thank you.
all right, okay. So the newest technology actually allows you to incorporate them in the skin of the building. And we've not actually been able to find something that works quite yet, but that's definitely the next wave. As you might remember, we said a few years ago that part of what we were doing around affordability was also reducing carbon footprint, but making energy more affordable and more consistently affordable with some level of predictability for our customers. So this helps us actually put a toe in the water without a great deal of risk. As you heard, that we have unilateral buyout rights starting 8 years in, which is a phenomenal opportunity for us. It's not that we want to be in the energy business, but we're sort of we would like to be between the customer and the energy company if it allows us to reduce their rates significantly. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would just add that with regard to solar energy, the Hillendale project
We're
is
looking at it.
spectacular in that we'll, as we've discussed with you, we'll have a net zero building
Yep.
in the senior building.
Wonderful.
Whereby there'll be zero energy cost to that building resident to live there because of solar panel that will be installed on the rear of the building that faces out. So there's also some solar panels out 900 Thayer as well. It won't give us a net zero outcome, but it will certainly offset. Continue to investigate and build this feature as we move forward.
So just one quick question. So the maintenance and any issues with the solar panels, is that gonna be back on Groundswell to take care of
Yes.
that?
Yes.
So the residents, would they directly contact them, or would it be coming back through HOC and then we would go to, any idea of how resolution of issues would work? High-level thoughts. I know it's not.
Well, that's actually really granular. However, it is most likely that if a customer has an issue, they're going to contact the property management company. And so that will then
they would
cause
go to
us to
okay.
engage with Groundswell. If in our regular duties, maintenance of properties or what have you, maintenance sees an issue, observes an issue, then that would then probably come to real estate and then to Groundswell.
All right.
But they are ultimately responsible after.
And I think, and having not done this before, I would imagine that they have, Groundswell, they've done this before in other locales, they have some sense of, they predicted, based on their study of the energy generation, what the daily, monthly outcome should be. It's not producing. It's incumbent on them to identify the problem and to try to fix
Right.
it. It's not on HOC's maintenance or HOC's property management per se. This is really their project, and we're facilitating the installation of solar, and it's really theirs to manage and maintain the operation.
Yeah, my concern is just, this is a paradigm shift, right, for residents. So, as with private citizens who have put in solar panels, so just any issues with, my house is not the same way, like, yes, I expect them to maintain them, but just issue resolution, and how is the resident going to make sure that, you know, that was more my concern.
Commissioner, I agree that it's a paradigm shift, although the intent here, as with virtually everything we do, is for there to be very little direct impact
Oh, yeah, sure.
in the physical environment on our customers. We hope, obviously, that the energy saving projections are better than expected, but certainly understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I think anything we can do to reduce the cost envelope to residents, certainly support it.
Well, we take a $1 lease. I mean, that's, we're getting pretty close to. I mean, I ultimately, when we get to the place where it's the skin of the buildings, the solar, that'll be a place where it's part of the building system, and so it's better integrated. We're really looking forward to sort of that place.
As you well know, we're going to follow that one quickly, because if not, you're going to find your construction costs go up.
That's right.
Because of having to introduce that element into the operation of the building. So always some trade-offs.
Recently heard an architect present the effect of solar and a net energy building, and how a particular resident was having astronomical energy bills. And it turned out that she had opened a laundry in her apartment and did the laundry for all of her neighbors and friends. And so they had to track down what the source of this was, because it was just absolutely not possible in the architect's mind that this could be occurring. And I thought that was...
With regular usage, right? That's the sort of fine print.
Yes, regular use.
Are we the only housing authority that's doing solar now?
We're not.
No.
Now, this is an advance. You see, photovoltaics are relatively inexpensive in the West at this point, and so, I mean, where they've got vast swaths of land, Texas is one of those places in a great level of sun exposure. You're seeing a number of solar farms pop up. Here, the real estate for us, the vertical real estate, is so valuable that we certainly would not scrape a site to put a solar farm, but that's why we're trying to incorporate it in the actual lived and built environment. We're a little behind the curve on this one, but I'm pretty sure we're going to catch up and surpass.
And our geography is very different than many parts of the country.
It is.
And the weather is
It
very
is.
different, so when you've got sun 350 days a year, it's a little different.
I think we have a motion.
Call the question.
Yes, all in favor of the motion to,
19-003 PS.
yes, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted. Thank you very much. Now may I have a motion to,
No, to adjourn to development.
Thank you.
yes, so now we,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You're done.
Okay. Sharnita, got a second?
I'm sorry?